Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi Jong and here I like to talk about luxury beauty. Today we are trying out a whole bunch of new items. We have new highlighter and powder from Hermes. We have products from Phytosurgence. This is the Weather Woods collection. We also have new lip colors from Armani. So let's get started. My base product today is the Cle de Peau Radiant Cream Foundation in shade I-10. And I do have a full review of that coming soon, along with the new Cle de Peau Brightening Enhancer Veil Primer. So we'll be looking at those in a separate video, but that is my base in here. I don't have any concealer on. And our first new product of the day is the Hermes Plein powder. This is in shade 01 Nuage. And you can see that this is a white silky matte powder. It looks just like the blushes. You've got the same like lines on here, the same diagonal lines, and it has a very silky texture. It feels like the blushes in texture. And I do have a swatch here. Let's just try and go over that a little bit. Now, this powder here is 6.5 grams or 0.22 ounces. It's made in Italy and it has a 1-year shelf life after opening. And this is considered a luminous matte powder. And right when I put this on, I'm using the Chikuhodo F09 brush here. Right when I dab this on, I can see an immediate blurring effect in that area. To the touch, it feels silky and smooth. And it kind of feels like the difference between having a primer on versus not a primer. So if you are thinking of when you first do your skincare and then you add something like the Surratt Perfectionist primer, your skin feels silky and dry and very, very smooth. That's what this powder then makes the texture of my skin feel like. So it's a very nice blurring. This can be a setting powder. You could use it as a finishing powder as well, but I think most people will probably use this as a setting powder. Next, we're taking a look at one of the Phytosurgence products that I just recently picked up. I have another shade of this from my first order. This is my second order with the company. And these are called Skin Sparks. These are, you can see it's like a creamy, like gel whipped creamy kind of blush. Texturally, these remind me of the Shiseido Air Whipped blushes. So those have been discontinued, but I really love them. They feel like it. These have fantastic performance. They last on the skin. They're really easy to buff out. This particular shade is the shade Simmer. Too many S's and H's there. So you can see that this is more of a neutral pink. It buffs out very nicely. There is, if you had to pick warm versus cool, I would say it leans warmer versus cool, but it's pretty neutral. And I think it's a really beautiful shade, really beautiful finish. You can see there is a little bit of luminosity in this finish. Now, for me, when I apply these blushes, I like to dab it on, and then I typically go in with the foundation brush that I'm using and buff that in, or I will use a brush for a cream blush. I personally prefer using a brush versus my fingers, and I have picked up the Phytosurgence brush that they have designed to use with this, but honestly, I haven't tried it yet. This brush I'm using here is the Koyodo F04, formerly the Fupa 03. So it's one of my favorites and I use it all the time for the foundation. Next, we're taking a look at the Hermes Plein highlighter in shade 02 Mirage. And again, this is going to have the same design on here with the diagonal lines as the blushes. This is the highlighter swatch here. We'll just go over that a little bit. You can see it's very silky, it's thin. It is not exactly the same texture as the powder or the blushes. The powder and the blushes both feel very, very silky, very, very smooth. You know, this is more metallic, so it's not going to feel quite as smooth. And it just, it's very silky, but it doesn't have that same like powdery texture to it. It feels a little bit like there's a little bit more grip to it, maybe a little bit more moisture in it. So the texture of it is slightly different than the blushes and the powder. And it also, because it is a little bit of a stiffer formula, it makes it easier to pick up less product on the brush, yet it's not to the point where it's difficult to pick up powder. Now, when I'm applying this, I have used the Sonia G Mini Cheek Brush on one side and the Rephr 20 Fan Brush on the other side. And you can see that both products pick up the highlighter very beautifully and put it on very nicely. Typically, you would expect the Mini Cheek to perhaps get more product up than the Fan Brush, which is, you know, one of my go-tos for a lighter application, but I would have to say that they actually were pretty comparable with the amount of product pickup and placement. First look at this highlighter, I was a little surprised because online I feel like it looks a little bit rosier, and it actually looks to be a golden champagne shade. So it's definitely got gold tones to it, you know, those yellowish gold tones. It's not going to be a bright brassy yellow, but it definitely has more of those like golden hue to it, mixed with some champagne. So I wasn't sure if this would work for me, but honestly, with the way that it picks up and puts on, it's really beautiful. So it actually does a really nice job. I'm very pleased with the way the highlighter has gone on. Moving on, I've used the Victoria Beckham Eye Kajal in Olive. This is not truly an olive. You can see it's actually a much deeper green, more of a forest green with a little bit less blue, but it's more, I guess, more hunter green almost. So it's a really beautiful shade, and I have kind of used the applicator and a brush. This is the Byredo slanted eyeliner brush. Use those to kind of draw it out, make a little bit of a wing on there. And I've used the residual on the brush to go on the lower lash line. So then I've topped this with another Phytosurgence product. This is Magnetic Maple. This is in the Weathered Woods collection, and it's a cream shadow. Texturally, these creams, you can see that they are thin, they're firm in there. They remind me of, I'll just do a second swatch here. They remind me of the Chantecaille Mermaid eyeshadows in texture, but these are a little bit smoother and silkier. So that's 2 layers versus 1 layer. And you can see the finish is, you know, it's like a metallic finish. These cream shadows are like the best formula. They last all day, they don't crease. I didn't even use eye primer or anything today, and I have no worries of them lasting all day long. And as you can see with 1 versus 2 swatches, you can put this on more sheerly or you can build it up. They blend beautifully. And after a minute or so, they really do kind of set in place. So you've got some time to work with them, but then they will settle or set on your skin. So they're not really going to budge. So I put this on the lid using the Esom W21 brush. And I did kind of a lighter layer and then patted it very gently over top the Victoria Beckham Eye Kajal. And I put a little bit on the lower lash line as well. So I think these cream shadows are amazing. The Weathered Woods collection is my favorite of the ones that I have from them so far. Let's just swatch all 4 of the shades real quickly. So we've got Magnetic Maple, which is already here, 1 versus 2 layers. And then we have Oxidized Olive, which it's not olive. So it's actually more of a taupe shade. It's a beautiful shade, and it's definitely, we'll do 2 layers of this one as well. This is definitely one of my favorite shades because I think it's like a perfect everyday shade. And you can see there are hints of olive in it, but it's really much more of a taupe shade with like glints of olive, in my opinion. Then we also have Chilled Cherry. And I mean, just from the name, I was like, oh, this is gonna be too like pink, too red. I didn't think I would like it, but surprisingly, I love it. It's a really beautiful shade on the eyes, and I like to wear this as a one and done or mixed with a little bit of one of the others. But I mean, look at these shades so far. These are really beautiful. Now I have, you know, recorded some eye looks with this, so I will include those at the end of the video. This last one here is Pewtered Pine. And this one has, you can see some like purpley tones to it, and it's just so pretty. So this formula, it's very like silky, very creamy, but very thin. So it's easy to put on. And because it is thin, it makes it easy to set. And it also doesn't like add weight to your eyelids. So we've got Magnetic Maple, Oxidized Olive, Chilled Cherry, and Pewtered Pine. Not really sure where the name Pewtered Pine comes from. Pewter, I can see, you know, you've got some of those silvery plum tones. The pine kind of threw me off. Here I'm using a sample of the YSL Lash Clash mascara. This is a new mascara, and this is volumizing. You can see that you have kind of this brush that's, you know, it's on the larger side, and you've got some like shorter bristles and longer bristles kind of interspersed throughout the wand. You can see it's a telescopic wand a little bit because it does get a little bit more narrow at the end here. Now, typically a brush like this is a little bit harder for me to use because I'm very good at making a mess. So I have to say though, this one has been a very pleasant surprise. I'm really enjoying this mascara. It does give volume, but yet it's not a clumping volumizing mascara. So it gives a little bit of lengthening, a little bit of volumizing, and it gives some separation to the lashes, which is what I like. So I got this as one of the samples with one of my Sephora orders. It's available as one of the beauty offers. So definitely check that out. If you're not familiar with Sephora beauty offers, on the Sephora site, when you're looking, there's a section for sales and offers. Click on that and click on beauty offers. And those are all of the like codes and things that you can add to get like a free gift with purchase. These are not your samples. These are like a separate thing. So I think this one was free with like a $25 or $35 purchase. So definitely check those out if you haven't been doing that yet. I always head straight to the beauty offers page. And then next up, we have some new lip shades from Armani. This is in the Lip Maestro series. And for spring, summer, they have basically increased their Mediterranean collection. I think they called it Mediterranea. Anyway, they previously had 2 Lip Maestros in this collection, and they're matte. These are the liquid matte lipsticks. And they've added 6 new shades. So there are now a total of 8, but the 6 new shades are all pearly. So they're pearly mattes. So we have shade 109 Tan here, and you can see there's a little bit of pink glitter and iridescence in there. And when you shift, you can see a little bit more of that. So there's gonna be pink glitter in there. And then we also have 532 Glow, which has a bit more, it's more of like a silvery glitter in there, perhaps a little bit of pink in there as well, but mostly silver. And I would say that the 109 Tan is kind of a warm beige with some peachy tones to it. And Glow is going to be more of a mauve shade with brown tones in it. So that's the one I have on my lips right now. And then I added the Chanel lip liner in Pivoine on top of that, you know, around the edges. And that is a great match with this one. So here's Pivoine, it's number 164. And you can see it's a little bit rosier than Glow, but honestly, they're pretty close. So it makes a really nice companion to this. Now, this formula, the Lip Maestro, again, they are a liquid lipstick. They're matte. They do retain some creaminess on your lips. They're very comfortable and they last a really long time. So I think it's a really great formula. I know for some people, this is like their ride or die liquid lipstick formula. So it's really nice. And I actually like the inclusion of the pearl in here because it does add a little bit of light reflection. It makes it a little bit more spring-like than just a pure matte. So let me know what you think of this style of kind of like a get ready with me trying new product type of video. I would have to say first impressions so far, I'm really enjoying the Hermes products. I think the setting powder is a really nice kind of a blurring powder. It feels very comfortable on the skin. It doesn't seem drying yet. Again, this is the first time I'm using it, so we'll have to see longer you know, how it performs. But first impressions are really good for the powder. Is it something like absolutely incredibly different from other powders on the market? Not necessarily, but it is a really nice powder. And I would have to say, so far, first impressions are really good and would probably put it towards the top of my list. As for the Hermes highlighter in Mirage, you know, again, first impressions, when I first opened it, I was thinking it was going to be too warm, too golden. But I actually do like the way it looks on my skin. I wish they did have a cooler tone option. I think that would be really nice, because the first shade they came out with in this line, the Perma Brass, is just, it's way too warm and gold for me. This one definitely does work with my complexion, but I would like to see more choices as well. I thought there was a second shade coming with this collection, but I think I was wrong with that. So I think this might be it for the highlighters at this moment. And then moving on, the Phytosurgence products, I'm really enjoying them. Phytosurgence, if you're not familiar with them, they are an indie brand out of Canada. So, and they are shipping other places. I'm not sure exactly where, but you do have to buy directly from them. They are not sold in other retailers. I think the blushes from them are phenomenal, because they, you know, they're really a lot like those Shiseido Airwhip blushes, which I love. But unfortunately, they are very hard to find around here now that they've been discontinued. I know they are a little easier to access in other places right now, other countries. The eyeshadows, though, I like to think of these as the eyeshadow version of the Cle de Peau cream blush, which is my favorite because it just performs so well. These eyeshadows are at that level for me. These are the best cream eyeshadows for performance, and I'm really, really happy with them. Again, I have not experienced any creasing or fading with these shadows like ever. And yeah, I think they're great. So I first got some last summer, and so I've tested the formula and the heat and everything, and still no issues with or without primer with these. So, you know, I think if you do have oilier lids, you may want to use a primer. You probably use a primer all the time for everything anyway. And I do most of the time use these with the Viseart eye primer. So I think they're fantastic. Really like them. Can't wait to see more shadows from them and more products in general. Moving on to the lipsticks, the Armani Lip Maestros. I think these are a really nice formula. I am not a huge liquid lipstick person. I usually prefer something in bullet form, but I do like liquid lipsticks at certain times. And I feel like some of the liquid lipsticks that kind of really set down and dry down are really great for mask wearing. These here are not mask proof, but I would say that they're mask friendly, because the color is not going to completely go away when you're wearing a mask. So I would say that they're mask friendly. I think they're a very comfortable formula. And I have to say that I don't notice any strong fragrance from them, because the best liquid lipsticks that I have found otherwise are the Suku, which I love. So those would be like the Fog and the Glow formulas from Suku. Those are fantastic. Absolutely love those. No fragrance that is noted there. But then the next ones would be the ones from Kilian, which are incredible on the lips, but they do have a very, very strong fragrance to them, which is a little bit overpowering for me. The Armani, I don't really notice a fragrance with. So after double checking the ingredient list on the box, there's no fragrance listed. So I'm guessing they are fragrance free. At least it's not listed anywhere on the box. So yeah, I think these are great. By the way, these are made in France, and they are 6.5 milliliters or 0.22 ounces. And yeah, I have to say, I really like them. So I think these are phenomenal. So if you're interested in these colors or the others, the ones that they have in this new collection are all kind of in the nude range. And I think they are just really beautiful. So I was really tempted to get more. I tried to limit myself because of so many lip products coming out right now. So my first impressions of the YSL Lash Clash Mascara, I have to say I really am enjoying this. This is one that I could see myself purchasing a full size of this. I've used this for about a week and I think it's really nice. So far so good. We'll see how the sample progresses. But after about a week, I can say that I do really enjoy this mascara. And overall, I have to say that all of these new items that I have here today, they're all nice items. I'm really enjoying all of them. And, the Hermes, these were the first time I was using those. So I will definitely have an updated review of those later. But so far, so good. We'll see how they hold up. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Please let me know what you think of this format style and what you think of these products. So I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day and stay safe and healthy. All right, so I'm going to take Oxidized Olive and I'm using the Chantecaille Shade and Sweet brush. And I mean, this is super creamy, very easy to apply. I mean, look at that. It's just such a pretty shade. Taking the tip of the bristles with just a little bit of this and putting it down below as well. So here's Oxidized Olive on both lids, nothing else. I don't think it looks like an olive green really. It's definitely more brown, but I love the color. So this is the final look from a distance. Again, there's Oxidized Olive on the lid. I did not add any eyeliner or anything. On the cheeks, I have the Skin Spark in Simmer and the Fresh Fog Spectral Shine. And this has been reformulated. I have the original. On my lips, I have the Sisley Vita Lip Twist in 24, one of my go-to shades. And that's it. All right, so we're going in with Pewtered Pine with the Sonia G soft shader brush. Just gonna get some product on the brush. I have the Vizier eye primer on, and I'm gonna put this on the outer, I guess about 2/3 of the lid. All right, so that's Pewtered Pine. I wiped the brush off, but I'm going to use the other side into Magnetic Maple. And this actually looks really light. So let's see how it shows up on the eye. It looks more like a champagne in the actual bottle. I'd say, yeah, it's definitely more of a champagne type shade, which to me is not really mapley, but I feel like their names don't really go with the colors personally. All right, so that's Magnetic Maple. I'm just gonna use my finger here to kind of blur the edges of the two shades. All right, so I wiped off the brush, but I'm just going to use this to kind of buff the crease area a little bit. All right, I'm taking the Danessa Myricks Chrome Liner in Amethyst. I'm going to put this on the upper lash line and a little bit of the lower lash line as well. So for the lower lash line, I'm just going to take that soft shader that I used and just smudge it a little bit. Do you see the color shift of the liner there? I really like the shift. You can get like some green and some purple. It looks like even a little gold. All right, so that's it for the eyes. And I'll show you this from a distance. And this is the final look from a distance. So I have on the Makeup Forever HD Skin Foundation in shade 1N06, which was formerly Y218. I have on the Guerlain Terracotta Light Bronzer in 00 and the Dior blush in 351 Mi Fiore. It was a limited edition shade. On my lips, I have the Givenchy lip liner in 8 Parma Silhouette, topped with the Valde lipstick in Curiosity. And I have on the new YSL Lash Clash mascara, Makeup by Mario highlighter in Opal, and that's it. Chilled Cherry from Phytosurgence and the Sunyaji Worker brush from the Lotus set.